So, welcome to Professional Guru online training services where you will give your IT career a new tone. So, little bit about myself is like I'm an SQL Server senior data warehouse analyst, like working for insurance company, which is based out of Boston. And I came up with this company because like based on the hurdles and the things like which I have faced in my career, like going through different projects and all, like so what are the things we have and all. So here on an high level view of what is this professional guru services about and all those things. So in brief, if you see what are the services are, like we provide IT career counseling services. Means like if an candidate was not able to pick a technology, or like he wants to start a new career. So what we do is we will take up the candidate's profile and we match it up to the current technologies, and we give and we suggest them a technology. It no need to be a technology what we train. So what we do is like based on his interest and like the capabilities, we will suggest a training. Or like for example, let's take a candidate who is from biomedical or somewhere where he doesn't have any technology experience, and by without knowing he's jumping into a Java world where it is like little bit complex, for the freshers, like taking like learning that Java technology, getting into it is a very bit tough. So what we do is like for those kinds of things, like what we suggest any easy entry tool like Informatica, or like very tool based, which is like ready to go into, and like where you can like get into that in like 1 or 2 months. So those kinds of things we discuss and suggested an platform for the new IT candidates. And what we do, and next, if we are good with this technology, then we go with the training. And the training part is mostly we focus on the real time trainings. Means like my thing is learning it, like say suppose if you're learning SQL, right? Like as you know, I think most of you know what is SQL. And also if you take an example of an stored procedure, you need to know how the stored procedure is like working out in the real time world rather than learning the syntax of it. So that is the main thing. For example, like I want to tell you, so you will be focusing only on the real-time things, like rather than syntax and all the bookish things. And then after the training is done, what we do is interview preparations. Means like we help out in like writing up your profile, resume, and we conduct mock interviews. So we all that to make a candidate get ready to start their project or like a new job. And then uh, and then once you are gone through the interview and everything is done, so then we also do technical support services to the candidate. Say suppose you are doing in the .NET, and like you want to shift it to SQL BI entirely. And then I mean, in the first job or in the first project, you will face some problems. Like say suppose if you're going into SSIS, so you will face some problems. So what we do is we give and technical support for first 1 month, where you can get like some technical questions answered and like small things, and like if you want to log into the system and show some of the things where you are not aware of. So those kinds of tech support services also we do like for the freshers. So those are the like high level services like we do in the professional guru. So like again, like speaking about the training, like many new IT freshers or like who want to change the technology, they need to know or like learn from the persons who are really working on the like working on the technology in a company. So those persons only can explain you better how things are going to work out. Like knowing this technology, how can I work in a company? So our main goal is to get train the candidates by only the professionals who are working, and they can give you the right professional guidance and the technical support services. So some of the IT courses we are like offering now are like SQL Server, BI, .NET, Java, Oracle, and like we have many trainers and like any other technologies. So if you have any friends or anyone who is interested, you can just forward them. If you are going into in-depth training features, what we are going to do is like we provide IT career counseling as I've told, and like by an IT professional, we are going to give you the training, and we are going to record each and every session we are having in this professional guru. So we are going to record that and upload that into an share drive and give it to the candidate so that one thing is like if you want to revamp or like recap of what we have learned yesterday, you can easily do that, and like you can keep it for records. Like say suppose you learned this now like in April, and like you want to go into the job in like May. So that is the beauty of this. Like you can like download all these files and like keep it on your chat. I mean on your desktop. Like you can again recap all those things like before you go into the interviews or the project, so that it will be very helpful for you to get recap of all the things like what you have learned. And there'll be like detailed exercises, notes, and we do interview preparations, and we also provide like guidance for the certifications, and this is fully online. Like you can take it from anywhere. Like if you are moving from one place to another place, there is no time constraint and everything. And we want to maintain this in a very corporate level so that you will get a real feel of that we are doing that and then like the real time world. And we also do for an IT freshers or like anyone who is interested. Actually, I am an certified Scrum Master, so I'll be explaining you the real time the mighty project management overview. Like I'll tell you like what all things happen in an SDLC life cycle and all those things. So we do all the things what needs for a candidate to boost up their confidence to go into a company. We can explain you how interviews go, and like we can take out mock interviews, and like we'll explain what is going to happen in the real time, and everything what a candidate needs and then the company needs to get the candidate on board. So that is our main thing we'll be focusing in the Professional Guru online training services. So that's all. Like if you have any friends or like anyone who is interested like in these kinds of trainings, you can really forward them. So then going to the SQL BI training, right? So actually I'm also from SQL BI background. So there is Vinod here, like who is going to be our SQL BI training. He has a decent amount of real-time experience, who has in-depth knowledge in the SQL Server BI. So as I am also from this SQL BI background, I want to like little bit explain you like what is it about and like what are the trends. So in the SQL BI world, so why the SQL BI is like most popular? Like nowadays, I just want to tell you in the SQL Server 2012, it has more advanced features, more than advanced features. You have more flexible features. Means why Oracle, SAP are like more, why they are popular, because they are more flexible, because each and every company wants to mold the technology according to their needs and the requirements. So Microsoft is also competing with them by bringing the SQL Server 2000 BI 2012 to that flexible standard. So with that, like it's becoming more popular and popular. And the other thing is, like this, Microsoft is known for its economical products. So Oracle, SAP, and all those are like very expensive, where a small sized company or a mid sized company cannot bear. Like particularly after this recession, every company is like looking twice before they spend a dollar. So they want to spend wisely, like nowadays any kind of company, even if it is an bigger company or a smaller company. So that is a little bit background why everyone is going into the SQL Server BI thing. And other thing is like SQL Server BI is like a big suite. You get a lot of things with that suite, but not a single thing. Like say suppose if you're going for informatica, it's little bit of an ETL and the reporting only. But if you are going with SQL BI, you are getting a whole bunch of like whole bunch of things, like where you can get like end-to-end solutions, like but not and only ETL or like only reporting for these kinds of things. And going to this SQL BI things, like what you're going to learn in this training session is you are going to learn about this ETL services. ETL services means like transferring data from X to Y. So X may be a flat file, Y may be SQL Server, and the same vice versa. And like if you're talking in the data warehousing points, like X is like database and like Y is data warehouse. So like you can do all sorts of things with this ETL, and then these reporting services, SSRS. So once you are having the data in the database or a database, you have to show that or like represent that data in a nice format, right? In a graphical things or like that. So for that, you need a reporting services to show that data in a nice format, and that is good. But like say suppose if you have like tons and tons, like terabytes of data, and like you want to analyze the analyze based on the data you got. Say suppose consider an example of Dell. Like they got tons and tons of like data, so they want to see what are the sales in the previous years, and they want to make the senior management wants to make a decision. So they want to combine all the data and do that aggregations and all those things and make a trend or like analysis. So we have analysis services to do those high performant and the aggregations give us some analysis. And so these are the main three parts, like integration services, reporting services, and analysis services. So which like where you want to learn in this SQL Server BI training. And actually, like I just want to show you like little bit what is the current trend in this SQL Server in the US. So if you are seeing this graph, this is by one of the popular job boards, like they have released. So the amount of SQL Server jobs like going around in the last 30 days. So they were very high in the US. The demand is very high, so you can easily get into any kind of jobs. And like the main advantage or the beauty I can say with this SQL Server is you can go into integration services job, you can go into reporting services job, you can go to analysis services job, or you can go to data warehouse developer. So there are like multiple things, so you can fit into any kind of jobs, or like you can go into SQL Server developer job. So by learning just SQL Server BI and like having a strong SQL Server knowledge, you have a wide variety of options in your hand where you can now go into the market. And like as I've shown you, the demand is more, so it's like very good technology to jump in and like get the thing started. And like if you are going into the other details, the schedules are like little bit flexible as of now. So what we are thinking is schedules will have on the weekdays at 8 p.m. EST to like 9:30 p.m. EST, like 1.5 hour to 2 hours every day. And depending upon the candidate's request, like we'll have it on the weekends, or like we'll maintain that only on the weekdays, so that you can like learn on the weekdays and practice on the weekends, and like again you can start your learning again on the weekdays, so that it will be like a cycle, like rather than mix and match like that. So these are the overall things what I want to tell you in this thing. So after that, I'm going to hand over this to Vinod, who is actual trainer for the SQL BI. So do you have any of the guys have any thing in any questions or like anything related to the training or the schedules or like anything you can you are free to ask, or like I'll hand over to Vinod. He will give you more details about this training.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah. Who is this?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, how long is the training is for?
So the training is will be around 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be for 5 weeks. And if you're talking about the working hours, it's gonna be something like 50 hours approximately.
Oh, okay. And we do get like hands-on experience also, or is it like just training?
No, like hands-on experience is like the whole training will be something like it will be very interactive. Means like they will give you will be given a small exercise or a task, and we will try to work on it. Means like it's not that the trainer always tells everything and like the candidates listen. So it will be vice versa every time. Like the trainer asks you something and like you will work on it, and if you're not like able to do, trainers will help you out. It's something like by the end of the day, by the end of the training, we'll make sure that you can do something on your own in this SQL BI things. So it will
Oh,
be
okay, good.
very hands-on, like you working on the SQL BI.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
So do you have any other guys like needs more things or like? Yeah, let me make like I'll give over to the Vinod. He'll like he will make it more in detail. Yeah, Vinod, I'm making you as a presenter, and you can like you can go ahead in like in detail about the SQL BI training, and you can give the link to all of them to download the SQL Server, and I'm gonna email all the candidates that link to and the process. Then we should be good to start our training from like from tomorrow, like actively.
All right, that works. Viren, that's fine. Thank you. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Vinod. I have total like 11 plus years of experience working with SQL BI. I worked on different versions of BI from SQL 2000, which was called as GTS at that time, and then later switched on to 2005, 2008 R2, and then 2012. And I'll take up the entire BI sessions for you, starting with integration, analysis, and reporting. So the entire stuff I'll be taking care of. And the training, the entire duration is for 45 days. Almost it's going to be for 5 weeks, where we'll be talking more about practical stuff. A theory is there as well. It's not that it's only practical. It's going to be a mixture of 80-20, where my main aim would be to make you ready for getting into a project as soon as you are done with the training stuff. And during the course of the training, you'll be getting a lot of PDF material from us, which includes the guides for the entire sessions that you are doing. That you'll get a lot of study material to read. You'll be getting a lot of interview questions that you have to prepare on. Some practical examples that you have to work every day. And you'll be getting some sample resumes that you will put on BI so that you can look at those resumes, see how the resumes are prepared, and prepare your own profile. And we'll help you with the interview stuff that I explained earlier. And also a bit of guidance is given on the interview aspects as well, and a technical support once you land upon those jobs. So this is what we have, in this particular training. One difference that you will find from us and other people is like we just don't give training. We are trying to prepare you for a job. That's how we're gonna look at it. And just for the training is sufficient. You have to put at least 2 hours per day to practice and get into it. And talking about the course, first I would just like to understand an introduction from everyone. Just a small background of yourself and what do you expect out of this BI? I just want to know from everyone. And my sessions are like this. I speak less and I want others to speak more so that I understand what everyone wants. And I'll call up one by one and you can just start speaking. Alright?
Yeah,
So
Vinod,
Karuna, can
sorry
you please
to
explain
disturb
like,
you.
what
Like,
do you know about BI?
can you pull up your SQL BI course curriculum on the screen
Yeah,
so that
please.
like the like meanwhile other guys can look like browse through that.
No, I'll share this at the end of the session anyways.
Okay, yeah, good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hi.
Karuna, can you please go ahead?
This is Karuna, and I've been working in IT since almost a year. I've been working a little bit on television reports, so I've been interested in the SSRS reporting services too. And along with that, I want to learn just SSRS services. That's all I can say for now.
Okay. Prem?
Hi Vinod, this is Prem over here. I have almost like 3 years of experience with .NET. So I thought like SSRS, SSAS also like include more weight to my resume. So I thought I'll take this training.
Okay. Samir? Tejasvi?
My name is Tejasvi, and I've been working for a year, almost a year in .NET. Right now, I'm working in Boston area as a .NET developer, and I have worked on SSRS reports in a past project. So I was a little bit more interested about business intelligence, the overall SQL BI. So that's the reason I wanted to give more scope to my resume.
Okay, fine. So you have a bit of idea about SQL Server, right? So that's good. So let's talk about what is that actually we are going to cover in these sessions. So everyone who's not speaking, and please put your mics on mute. Please mute your phones. Okay, so talking about our BI sessions, we are going to talk more about integration services, analysis services, and reporting services in detail. So talking about integration services, you know, right, when you talk about an organization, the organization has a lot of places from which data comes into the organization and goes out of the organization. And this integration services helps us to integrate the data which is coming from multiple sources. It can be a database, it can be a file, it can be uh, an Excel sheet, or it can be a non-structured source like an XML file, where you can get the data from those non-structured sources and put it into one place, which is your single SQL database, or to an Oracle database, or to a platform. So this is what basically is done by any ETL tool. So integration services is also one of the ETL tools from Microsoft, where you can just not only transfer your data, but also you can start building your business logic into your ETL stuff. All right. So this is what we'll be gonna dealing with first, and this takes somewhere around 2.5 weeks to complete. So we're going to talk about the entire stuff like understanding the logic, trying to build the logic in the control flows, trying to understand how the business logic is built inside the data flows. We talk about different transformations and stuff. We talk about how the variables are done. So the entire end-to-end programming is done from this, it's covered in this integration services. Alright, so this is what we're going to do first. And once our integration services is done, we are having the data inside the entire data warehouse. The next part is we're going to talk about how do you do analysis with the data once the data is integrated into one place. and that analysis is done using your analysis services. So in analysis services, we talk more about how do you understand the data models, how do you understand the data warehouse, what are the different types of data warehouse that we have, what are the tools that we have to analyze the different the data that we have inside the tables. We talk about the different terminologies that we have inside the data. So all that we'll be talking inside our analysis services. And analysis services that we talk here, that we're going to do here is common with any tool that you use. All right, analysis services is one tool where 80% of it is theory, where you do a lot of work using the pen and paper. I mean, you write your own Word documents, you create your technical specification documents, you create your functional specification documents, all that. We talk more about the documentation part and the different analysis that you do here, right? So, and after the analysis is done, we talk about how do you go back and create the cubes, how do you go back and query your cubes, how do you write your MDX queries to extract your data, how do you analyze your tools using Excel sheets. We talk about how to connect to a cube using pivot tables. And we talk about how to create different KPIs to stand for key performance indicators. We talk about drill downs, drill through reports, all that we talk inside this analysis services. So this analysis services is one part where we'll be covering end to end, like from starting with the analysis of the data warehouse to the end delivery to the client. We talk about how to create Excel sheets, how to create an SSRS report connected to a cube. We talk about how to pass different parameters to the cube and start working on it. All right. So all that we'll be talking inside this analysis services. And this analysis services will roughly take around 2.5 weeks. Okay, so most of we completed, we try to take one longer sessions on the weekend, and we try to complete the analysis services on the weekends also. All right, and after analysis services, we'll be getting into the reporting services part. And in the reporting services, we talk more about how to make a presentation of a report. All right, report anyone can create, but a report which makes the other person to understand the meaning of the report is very challenging. Like you deciding how to go back and create a chart report or a linked report or a drill down report or a drill through report, a proper formatted report, choosing proper expressions to have a proper displayed report. So all that we'll be talking inside our reporting services. We talk about design considerations, what are things that you have to consider. We talk about cascading reports, we talk about scheduling of the reports, history management, and we talk in and out about the administration part of the report as well, because right, reporting service is small, but it really makes a lot of impact when you talk about the end customers. All right, so this is the three that we are going to completely cover in this 40 to 45 days. All right, so we'll start with integration services, then go to analysis, and then reporting part. Okay, and other than these tools, we also have other tools included in the BI part, which we are not going to cover, like we have MDS, we have DQS, and all that. That's not part of our sessions. So majorly we'll be covering integration services, analysis, and then reporting. All right. So you can see my screen right now. So this is what this is the course curriculum. Anyways, I'll send you. You will have a transcript like this, and we'll be covering all the topics one by one. And the topics would not be covered on like a theory part, but I'll share a lot of documents with you. Like for example, you can see my screen. I have a lot of case studies that I've done for a previous batch. I just have that. So I'll share a scenario with you, and on the scenario we'll talk about what logic is being, that what we need out of this particular requirement, and then we'll try to go back and see how exactly you write an algorithm for it and try to build a package or a code for that particular requirement. So it's end-to-end kind of a scenario that you experience in a real-time project. You have to understand your requirements. You have to go back and find out what are the steps that are actually required to satisfy that requirement, and then understand which tools that you have to use or which components you have to use to satisfy that requirement. So that's what we'll be doing here. So the entire SSIS that we're going to do is going to be like this, where we discuss the requirements and then we try to start building a code for it. All right. And talking about an analysis services also, is something similar to it. I'll just share you one small analysis services material as well. So you will be talking about all material which is properly printed, and you also have a requirement that we will be doing. It's one requirement of creating a cube for some sales data. Let me show you that. You see this? It's a case study that we have, and we'll try to create a cube for this, complete end to end. We talk about how to identify your requirements, how to go back and talk about data warehouses, try to understand the relationships and data models, and start thinking of what you actually need, trying to go back and create a cube, analyze that cube, and then extract the data out of the cube and write some MDX on that. All right. So the complete end-to-end also we do here in the analysis services part. And for everything you get PDF materials from us so that you can go back and start working by yourself when you're independent. Like, you're not in a session, you can just go back to them, try to refresh or recollect what you have done in your sessions. And also you'll have a recording session so that you can go back and revisit what you have exactly done. Like step by step, it's there in the recording as well. So the entire session is going to be like this, completely recorded with the assisted material and everything. All right. And talking about the SQL Server, you can download the trial version of SQL Server from the internet, and that's available as a 90-day trial version. You can install it, and that's going to be sufficient for your entire sessions. Okay. Any questions or anything that you want to ask? No questions?
Nothing much, Vinod.
Okay.
I'm
So,
good too.
okay. All right. So regularly I have sessions in the evening time EST. That's how I have it. So we'll start our regular sessions from tomorrow evening. So Naren, could you please send me the email addresses of people whom I could send the materials to, and we'll start our sessions from tomorrow.
Yeah, sure. Like we can do that. Like I'm expecting like other people, so I'm just thinking like what will be the schedule. I'll send you like in 1 or 2 hours. Like the session is going to start from tomorrow or like the after tomorrow, but we are going to like start sessions by Tuesday at any point.
There are two batches, right? One is the weekend batch and other is the weekdays batch.
Yes, like so we are like just figuring out like which will be the fit. I mean, like based on the candidates.
Uh-huh.
So let's see, so what is your schedule actually?
I'm fine with anything, most preferably weekends.
Weekends only?
No, I'm open to anything, but my
Okay.
preference is towards weekends.
Okay. Yeah, because the thing is like if it is only, I mean, generally people will find the only time to practice is like the weekend. So we try to get classes on the weekday so that you will get all the stuff done in the weekday and like just spare some time for the practice on the weekend. So we'll see like mostly on the weekdays finish it up, or like maybe weekdays 4 sessions and weekend 1 session. Maybe that can be worked out too. I will send out the schedule like maybe in like 1 or 2 hours, and then we can start.
Okay.
And Vinod, what are you need to install for tomorrow? SQL Server, that's it? Anything else?
One thing is you need to install SQL Server, and along with SQL Server, you also need to install the Adventure Bus databases. I'll send you entire stuff on
The links and everything to install it.
yes, and also I'll send you the material that you're going to follow up in the first few sessions. So I'll send you the some kind of some case studies as well.
Okay, sure.
Okay then, guys. Like I think like if everyone is like good, we'll start the sessions from tomorrow. Like after tomorrow, I'm gonna send you those details like and like shortly.
Okay.